where the clubs were located. They weren't out in the suburbs. They were in the neighborhoods where they really needed to be, serving kids that really need to be served. And it was just where the clubs are placed and the number of kids that we impact. So restoring faith in what we do and our name and our brand was kind of very important. But simultaneously, I knew the only way to do that was to hire the right people, put them in the right places, give them the support they need, give them the training they need, and then turn them loose and let them do their job. We felt like, the salaries were basically very low. We did a market analysis, and for this region and for an organization our size, they were pretty low. Getting the right people on the bus in the right seats and making sure you give them the tools to go forward and succeed. We also partner with a couple of charter schools now. The club you visited yesterday, for example, it's a partnership with a charter school. They're on our property. So as soon as school's out, they transition into the club. So those relationships have been good, and then they've led to relationships now that we're developing with Shelby County Schools, which we've never really had before. So there's a possibility that we might be expanding next year into 3 public schools and potentially 6 in the future, which is, again, our reputation, working on the branding and the reputation, which is now much stronger. They invited us to come in, which had never really happened before. So I think, developing strategic partnerships along the way and then paying close attention to what's going on socially and it is very important. Different kinds of leaders too. I've always felt like, me personally, that the best way to do it is lead by example. I will never ask my staff to do anything that I won't do. So if we build a Kaboom playground, I'm going to be out there, shoveling mulch and hauling concrete or whatever. If the roof leaks, I'll be the one that's up on the roof trying to figure out what it is, because I just won't ask people to do something that I wouldn't do. I've always been that way, and I just think it makes a difference when people see that you're willing to get out there and sweat and work hard just like they do in those circumstances. I think that goes a long way. It's the staff that we put in place and the work that they're doing, and then that just kind of spreads. It's infectious. So we try to focus on what the strengths are of those particular clubs and the staff that we have in them.
The staff.
Well, a lot of that, I think, in the beginning is just getting to know them well, and learning their history. So what we did, I think it was first or second week here, was I brought in all the club directors and program directors and the staff in the central office, and I gave them each a big, white piece of paper. We put them up on the wall, and I said, do a storyline. Tell me all the significant events in your life. You start wherever you want, your birth, your birth of your first child, or your graduation, wherever you want to start, up to today, and what significant events have led to this career path and where you are now. And so, it took most people 5 minutes, some 10, and the younger you were, of course, normally the fewer events. One particular person who you've met, I looked over at him, and he was on his second piece of paper. And he started charting it out, and it was, I got this award from Colin Powell, I got this award from the country of Argentina, the Silver Cross, and just on and on and on and on. And he was a club director. And my first thought was, I'm sitting here going, why isn't this guy in a leadership role? He's a retired admiral in the Navy. He's got all the qualifications. He's a great leader. He's a great role model. He's here for the right reasons. So I promoted him almost immediately. And it made a significant impact on everything that we've done. Sometimes they might have the raw talent, but they just need a little bit of polishing, and that could be training at a Boys and Girls Club of America conference, or it might be something that's offered locally, but investing in them. So we really try to make sure that everybody's on some type of, through Leadership University or some other type of training, that it's an ongoing thing. It doesn't end. Just because you've reached a certain point, it doesn't end. And so getting our staff to understand that, because I think they just take themselves kind of for granted sometimes. What you do is very, very important. You need to understand that, and then be able to articulate it when you go out and speak in public. The other thing I noticed was there was a huge discrepancy in the size of clubs, everywhere from a little one-room, clubhouse in a rural area to a mega club in an urban area. So, but there was also a big discrepancy in the quality of the programming that was being offered. And I always I use Starbucks as an example. You walk in a Starbucks in Texas or New York or California and you order a latte, they're all the same. Staff might look a little different, but the order is the same, the quality is pretty much the same. And I always felt like that was something that we as an organization should focus on. So the same thing holds true here. Every club was different, had a different culture, a different, slightly different size, and served different kids. Some served more elementary, some served more high school, but the quality of programming at each site was often different. And so that was one of our goals from day one, was we need to standardize the way we're doing things. We can't have, one club doing things on paper and one club doing it electronically and one club having a strict schedule every day and another one is more drop-in. That doesn't work for me. And so we really started to focus on, how do we fix that? And so, visiting the clubs on a regular basis, putting in video surveillance systems so that we can observe from remotely, doing different things like that, tweaking, the way the staff sees, and getting them to understand why that's important. So we still have variations from club to club, but based primarily because of age, the age of the kids that attend. But the majority of the programs that we do are consistent across all of them. And so, sometimes it depends on funding. For example, you might have a grant at 3 clubs that requires you to run one program, so you only run it in those 3. So there's always going to be some difference. But the experience when you walk through the door should be the same. When a kid walks in, it should feel and look like a Boys and Girls Club. You should feel at home. The staff should know their name. Those things should be consistent. It should be clean. It should be organized. My staff will tell you I'm a clean freak and OCD, and so that's one of the things that I'm on them all the time about, because I really think that's important. And I think as a society, we've kind of let some of those things go, and I think it's important that we teach why that's important to our kids. If we don't hold ourselves accountable and we're not doing it, why will they do it? So the little things like that I think are huge. But then also just that feel. The sound, there's no sound like that when you walk into Boys and Girls. You feel it, you hear it, you see it. And so, that comes from the staff. When they're excited to be there and are excited to come to work, and they really enjoy what they do and they love their kids, it just happens naturally. So again, it goes back to putting the right people in the right place. Yeah, everything's become data driven, and so making sure that we have a high percentage of our kids taking the NYOI surveys and then looking at those, so we know if they're missing school, if they're skipping school, if they're tardy, if they have behavioral issues, we know what they are, and then we can address those things. And so I think being able to do that has given our staff the tools. A kid's acting out, okay, what do we do with him? In terms of programming, but in terms of life skills and development with our young people, youth development is exposure, exposing them to things that they normally don't have. These people look just like me. These kids look just like, I can do this. And then you start helping them with the testing and the grants, and there's no reason why they can't. And so that's why we've had such a high success rate of our seniors, is because they've gone on tours, they realize what it's like, they kind of have a feel for what it's going to take. That we support them and help them get there, just like a football team. If you might have, or a basketball team might have a great starting 5, but if you don't have a bench, you're not going to go very far. We got a grant from the Pyramid Peak Foundation, which addresses basically our strategic plan. That was the idea of the grant. Wasn't the idea going in, but as we talked about how they could best help us, I said, we've talked about training. We need money for training. We've talked about salary increases. We need money for that. And we've talked about, increasing our depth and building a bench. And so we've hired 6 what we call assistant program directors, who would basically be able in time to step up into that program director role, which then eventually could step up into the club director role. And then we've identified our top performing club director, who, if needed, could step up into Vincent's role as VP of Operations. She's now in charge of education and training, and that's Gwendolyn you met yesterday. And they struggled. So I think having somebody that's capable of stepping in, at least on a part-time or interim basis, is critical. So that's important. I think education is very important. All of our full-time staff have college degrees, and many of them have master's degrees, and some of them have PhDs. So picking the right people and then looking at their background, what they've done, what's their history. But I explained to to the foundation was I showed them the research and club salaries around the country, and then we did similar nonprofits in the area. You know, so they understood that it was important, and to be able to keep talent here in a city that's struggling, you know, and you got a lot of people fleeing, going to Nashville or other places. You've got to have something, you know, to keep them here, make it worth their while. So that helped. So one of the key pieces to that was hire a planned giving person. You're not going to see the benefits of that right away, but in theory, you know, over time it will more than pay off, and so forth. But I think that's a big piece, and I think it's typically the last, you know, kind of the last piece of the puzzle. But often it's the first one somebody lets go in a crisis because they're not seeing an immediate return, and you've got to look at it if you can long term. When I came, it was the lowest performing club. It was the fewest number of kids, probably one of the highest number of incident reports based on the number of kids that we had. It was struggling, and you know, we made a change there, and you know, found Gwendolyn. We actually interviewed 3 people that day, and we ultimately hired all 3 of them. Two of them are very good friends with Gwendolyn, so it said a lot about her. They all knew her, and they all looked up to her, and we ultimately hired all 3 of them. Not right away, but it worked out that way. And then she immediately wanted to hire, you know, Chris as the program director. So I met Chris and learned about his background. I mean, what a dynamic duo they are. So, and it just started from that. So we're picking the right 2 leaders, and then we started interviewing and changing. So, you know, over about a 6-month period, there was a lot of changes in the part-time staff. A lot of, you know, there was a lot of lack of accountability there, and that changed. If you want your job to be easier and you want to be successful, you have to prepare hours before you get there, just like a good teacher does. And then you got to go home and think about what happened that day and what you did. It's just like a teacher. And so we've seen the numbers come up, we've seen the quality come up. They consistently score, you know, in the top of all the clubs, if not the highest.
Keith was concerned about those other elements. I don't want it to just be a safe, positive place. I want kids to come to the clubs and feel like this is a place where I can go every day, have fun, but at the same time, learn something. Whether it is academically or workforce development or character and leadership or healthy lifestyles. All those things were rolled up into the policies that Keith rolled out. And again, getting back to what I said before, 1, it's going to be safe. 2nd, they're going to have fun because all the programs have a fun element built into them. 3rd, that there's going to be a staff there that when they walk through that door, the excitement starts. And the excitement is going to continue until either their parents pick them up or they depart the club for the evening. And when they come back tomorrow, that excitement is still going to be there. Those supportive staff are going to be waiting for them. That, to me, is what a club is all about. We want to make sure that they're successful academically because we have programs. Boys and Girls Club of America has wonderful programs, and we've adopted those, and we've actually created minimum standards. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But we want these children to be academically successful, so we run programs in the club to help them with their academics. But at the same time, we're partnering with the schools and we're partnering with other agencies to help us in collecting data that will help us with our programs. And through our Keystone Club, Torch Club, Triple Play Leadership Club, kids are involved in their community doing things to promote their community, to make things better. And it also helps us in our branding because instead of us always receiving from the community, it's us giving back to the community with the kids being out there involved. Whether it's working on projects at the schools or working on cleanup projects in the neighborhood, helping at a elderly care home or whatever, our kids are out in the neighborhood through these programs. But we try to make sure that every child graduates on time, that they're ready for success, whether it's going to college or whether it is seeking a job, through our technical training center, we work on things like workforce development. We start with things as simple as basic skills. There's an element of recognition. And regardless of how small or how large, we try to recognize children for accomplishments. In some cases, and when you get that big hug from a kid saying thank you, that's a huge reward for me personally. And I think you see that in the staffs too. When they get that hug, they realize they've done something special for that child. So again, safe, positive place. It's got to be safe. And when Keith came in, that was one of the first things he said. We've got to provide a safe place. And that's your task, Vincent. It's my task. So we've got to get our staff up to speed on safety. We've got to establish safety committees, get boards involved. So safety is huge. Safe, positive place. Fun has got to be the key component. Because if a child is not having fun, they're going to walk. We know this. Schools know that. Other agencies, youth serving agencies know that. So there's got to be fun built in. Many agencies have copied what we do. So after that fun element, then you got to make sure that you have a staff in place that has a passion and wants to work with children. And having respectful, I didn't pronounce that right, respectful relationships with children. We also provide leadership opportunities as in junior staff. We call it job seekers, but junior staff. These are kids that have a passion for wanting to help other children, especially when it comes to learning. So we give them a role in the classroom. We also give them a role in helping us shape programs that would attract other kids to the club. Dance, music, cheerleading, step, arts and craft. We have some kids that are very gifted artists. Music, we have a music studio in one of our clubs as a partnership with Notes for Notes. It's a nonprofit organization. Because Memphis is a music town, they decided that with their relationship with Boys and Girls Club, they would love to build a Notes for Notes facility in one of our clubs. Well, the Samelson Club was selected, one, because of its location, because of the layout of the club, and a lot of it had to do with the attitude of the club director. Very positive, outgoing person who wants to provide nothing but exceptional experiences for her kids. So she saw it as a grand opportunity. All we had to do is prepare the space. The Notes for Notes organization, they came in, purchased all the equipment, they provide the instructor. There's about $200,000 worth of investment on their part in that particular effort. So we are very thankful for that. It really promotes our arts program. And then finally, sports, fitness, and recreation. Through the Buffalo Wild Wings flag football program and now basketball program and cheerleading program, that has become huge for us. And it's very big with our teenagers. Even though we have a 12 and under, we serve a lot of teenagers that participate in especially the flag football and basketball. So sports is huge. And whether we're playing sports as it relates to the Boys and Girls Club of America sponsored program through Buffalo Wild Wing, we also have intramurals. Whether it's soccer, baseball, or whatever, our kids like to compete. Memphis is a very competitive place when it comes to sports. Whether some people say it's a basketball town, but there are a lot of other athletes here too. We have baseball, we have basketball. The Grizzlies, what a blessing. The Grizzlies organization is one of the best supporters we have when it comes to what they do for our children. Some of the players every year at Christmas, they take 200 of our kids to a Walmart or Toys R Us, and they give them a $200 gift card and say, shop on us. And they don't just provide a gift card. They actually go shopping with the kids. They're in the store with them, and they're helping them make these selections. That's important to have those kind of relationships with an organization that has a reputation like the Grizzlies. But we have a mini. Well, they had to have those three key elements: academic success, good character and citizenship, and a healthy lifestyle. The minimum standards were developed such that you had to have certain programs. And then those certain programs were tracked through our membership tracking system. So are we going to make that up, or are you going to reschedule that? How do we do that? And often it's a give and take. It's not me directing. It's us working together to figure out. But before I do that, I listen to them, let them explain what was happening in the club as to why they couldn't complete that particular session. So we use data to ensure that we're achieving the things that we say we're going to achieve. But with the minimum standards, it gives them a roadmap. So when they're putting their schedules together for a particular month, they know how many sessions they need to do for, like, power hour. Okay, power hour, 4 sessions, one per day for 4 days. So then when it comes to the staff, we are fortunate in that we do have a full-time club director and program director with them. Then we have the program director. The program director is responsible for the programming and training of the part-time staff that's going to provide those programs within the club. He or she works with the front desk clerk in making sure that the sessions are scheduled in the membership tracking system for each month. They work with the club director, making sure that they have their schedules posted, that they've communicated with parents of the programs and things, the requirements for those programs with the parents. So the two of them work very closely together. Our goal is to develop that program director to eventually be promoted to the position of club director. And club directors, we are working with them. Who knows? I won't be here forever. So we work with them to someday maybe be vice president of operations. Weekly in the clubs, we set aside an hour where we pay them, the part-time staff, to spend some extra time to train. That's something that Keith and I discussed, and we said, hey, we really need to do this because in order to provide programs effectively, we need to make sure that our staff is trained properly, so giving that time for them to train. We recite that at the beginning of our meeting, our mission. Then after that, we recite our code, our Boys and Girls Club code, because we want to make sure that you're really 100% into this, you bought into this, and if you're 100% into it, you know that mission, you know that code, and you're not afraid to speak to anybody about what that is, what you stand for. So training is huge because you get out of things what you put into it, and training is one of those investments. When you invest in that, you get more fidelity out of the programs that you are presenting. And again, the kids get more out of it when a staff comes into the room. They're prepared for what they're going to do. The information that is being imparted to them is relevant to what they are doing, whether it is in school or what they're dealing with in their life situations or the peer pressure that they're dealing with. All of that's important, but you can't do that unless your staff is well trained. For that, a person that has vision for the organization and a vision for the individuals who work within that organization. To be a successful leader, you have to be responsible for your actions. Therefore, taking into consideration the impact of the decision you're going to make. Leader has to be somebody that is positive and enthusiastic about what they're doing. They have to be a role model for what they're trying to get other people to do. Trustworthiness. Can we trust you? Because we are giving you the responsibility to be, you've got hundreds of kids that you're responsible for. Can we trust you with them, the resources that we're providing to you, the programming we're providing to you, the equipment we're providing? Can we trust you with those kids and that to achieve that mission? We want to try to keep things positive. Having a positive attitude is so critical when you're dealing with youth development, because children follow the example of those that are going before them. So we have to role model what we expect our children to do. When we talk about healthy habits, we have to live up to that. Are we practicing healthy things in front of them? What are we eating? When do we eat it? Are we gobbling down the candy bars standing in front of them? Or when we have our lunch break or whatever, if we're having it in the club, what are we eating? Are we eating healthy foods too? Going over some of the things that we've covered before, because if you don't go back and review, sometimes you forget. I hate to terminate anybody, but through that process, you're hopefully at the end of that process, 90-day period, you've got someone that really wants to be in the club, really wants to work with children, and wants to make a difference in their lives. It's all about taking children from where they are to where they need to be as productive citizens. Our program has to have fidelity, and that comes from training. I can't say enough about that word team. It's not about the individual, it's about what we do collectively. And collectively, working together, and I think you see it at our Samelson Club, they work as a team, they come early, they stay late, but all of that is to build teamwork. Now, we have ways of recognizing our people. Sometimes it's minimal things, but when we do our performance reviews, I mean, out of that, people that have achieved the objectives that were set out, then they get pay raises. When Keith arrived, we had a pay scale that was totally out of whack. We had some club directors making $33,000. We had others making 60 plus. Well, the 33,000 was working with more kids, achieving more of the objectives, yet their pay was stuck here. This person had a smaller club, fewer children, and achieving less. Now, it wasn't based on seniority, it was based on who was there before, and the person that was hired behind them, that's what they were paid. So Keith came in and said, we've got to take care of that. And so when we did our strategic plan, we looked at, okay, for an organization our size, what does the average club director, what is their pay? What is the average pay for a program director? What is the average pay for part-time and the specific roles they play? So we try to level that, and through the 5-year plan, it would have everybody at the same level. But we took a huge step in the first year of our strategic plan, and we've got all the club directors, now they're at the same level. They're doing the same job, we have the same expectation, the same standards across the clubs, and it makes a huge difference, even though it's kind of a secret as to who's getting paid what, people know. So we figure we've got to get rid of that. So we level the playing field. We increase some that were in higher levels, they didn't want to meet all of the standards and criteria set, the accountability, so they decided to move.
And the reason why my job is so important to me is because mentorship as a kid played a great role in my life. And so as a director for our Samelson Boys and Girls Club, it affords me the opportunity to shape and embrace some of the kids that'll be our future leaders. It's progressive, yet traditional in the sense that it's a neighborhood-based club. Progressive, yet traditional in the sense that it's a neighborhood-based club. Traditional, yet progressive. I say it's traditional because it's a neighborhood-based program. And so I would describe my leadership style as more of a coaching. My job is to make sure that my players, my team, know exactly what our goals and expectations are. And I make sure that they have what they need to be successful. And I also have to make sure that they know how important they are to the success of the club. One thing I do is talk to them and make sure that we identify strengths. When the staff that you have here are enjoying their job, they believe in what we're doing, our mission, our goals that we have in place, they're the best mouthpiece because they're talking about an organization that they work for, that they love. Is I need someone that's going to be creative, I need someone that's going to be consistent. So I need someone that's going to be able to adapt to what the day presents each day. I'm able to give feedback right at that moment, or when we have one-on-ones with the staff members. We try to make sure that they know that we're concerned and that we have their back and support them in what they do. We like to see the kids succeeding at what they want to do. When employees know what the goals are, then they have something to work towards. So when one person meets a goal or the whole team meets a goal, we applaud that. And I feel like that makes them feel good about themselves. So they want to set more goals and reach more goals. I think that sometimes in supervision, people don't know the power of 2 words, thank you. When they see employees having a good job, good time and having fun, then it just trickles down to the kids enjoying their experience at the Boys and Girls Club. One cool thing is Bgca Leadership University. It's accessible to all full-time staff. I love that training because they always send us back with information that we can give to our staff. We're trying to utilize all that we have available to make sure our staff are always improving and have what they need to be successful employees for the company. We always talk about working as a team. In order to have a good team, you have to have good leaders. And I think that when your employees see that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make this team successful or make everything the day go smoothly, then they're willing to do those same things. Your staff see a smile on your face, they have a smile on their face, and we can put a smile on a youth face. Some things that we do to create a fun environment is we let the staff know that it's okay to smile. It's okay to relax. And I feel like when you're working in an environment like that, you do feel like family, and that creates the bond that's kind of unbreakable. We're there for one another, and we practice that every day. I think that everyone here is clear that in order for us to be successful, we have to make a collective effort. Anybody that can work by a schedule and abide by it, then I think that it'll be beneficial to the club as a whole. Okay. What we're trying to do at Boys and Girls Club, we're trying to develop relationship with the kids. So we're hoping that with this process, if we follow it correctly, then the kids are able to take what we provide them today and utilize it in their life. I can do my work at my club because my leaders are supportive, and they give me what I need to be successful with being a director at Boys and Girls Club.
Having a chance to grow up in this actual Boys and Girls Club of Samelson. I grew up down the street at a nearby local high school. I furthered my career after leaving the Boys and Girls Club at the age of 18 to go to the University of Memphis. Here at the Boys and Girls Club, it taught me how to become a young man, how to become a man, and it furthered my professional career to be able to play professional basketball on all levels, NBA as well as overseas. My personal background starts here at Samelson Boys and Girls Club. I grew up here as a kid almost 30 years ago. I was a member. I was very active in the club. They taught me a lot as far as chef club, how to interact and be cordial to other people regardless of the race or the gender. I grew up down the street in this same area of Samelson at a local high school. I later went to the University of Memphis on a basketball scholarship. After that, I was blessed enough to play professional ball in the NBA as well as in Europe. To have the opportunity to come back and work with the kids where I actually grew up means a lot to me. Always be able to be open to other people's opinion and other people's speech. So as I lead here at Samelson Boys and Girls Club, I allow the staff to be able to come to me with any type of questions, with any type of situations, and if there's anything that I can do to assist in making it easier or better for them, I have an open door policy. What I do to help them with their leadership qualities, first of all, I support them. I think support and being able to know that you have that support kind of eases you in what you need to do. I will go in, I'm very hands-on with them. If they need me to show or lead by example, I'm willing to do it. If they need me to show them how it works for me and maybe they can piggyback off what I do in their own way, By any means necessary, I'm open, and that's how things have been working here for me at Iris Samelson. There's always more that you can learn. Push them a little more, to give me a little bit more, to know that this is not the limit. I know you have more in you. And the same way that my director does me here at the Boys and Girls Club, when I feel like I've accomplished something and I've reached that goal and the highest of the high, she finds a way to get more out of me, and I think it's a domino effect with me on the staff. The Samelson Boys and Girls Club, first of all, is a safe place to be. It's a place where futures start. I feel here at our Samelson Boys and Girls Club that we have one of the best staff that I've ever been a part of. I've been around a lot of teams. To have a staff that feels like family. We send out group text messages. It's just like a family. It's not as easy as we would like for it to be on those days. We may go out, have a little chill time where we talk and see what we did wrong that day to make it better for the next day. We lift each other up, and we always make sure that we're on the same page and we're all feeling good at the same time. When we're looking for people to hire here to work at our Samelson Boys and Girls Club, we first of all want to know if you're involved or if you really like or care for kids. You need to have some type of feeling or activity or strength to be around kids. They're tough, they're fun, but they're challenging. And if you're in school, we would like to be the ones to give you an opportunity to see in your educational career if this fits for you. We definitely need you to be flexible. Here at the Boys and Girls Club, we have outings that sometimes cause us to work on days that we're supposed to be off. And being flexible, that means you're giving your free time to be with the kids. Here at the club, a lot of the kids don't have the range to go do a lot of the things that here at Iris Samelson offers them to do. We need them to be flexible, we need them to be enjoyable, we need them to be exciting, and we need to let the kids know that we're here for them, not just here at the club, but outside the club as well. Well, first of all, we know you by name, and you call them specifically by their name. They know you care because you've taken the time not only to find out who they are, but you know them by name. They should have confidence in you enough to come to you with any type of problem or situation that may come about. And as long as you keep that relationship open to where they know that you really care about them as an individual. Supervision for me here at the Iris Samelson Boys and Girls Club consists of me actually going in and doing programming with my staff. I really like to be hands-on. I like for them to know that you're not in here by yourself, that they have the support from me as well as the other staff, that we can step in and we work together like a hand in glove. It's great that we have a staff that gets to work 30 to 40 minutes early, so we have that downtime to where I can talk to you one-on-one about what you need to do or what you need to improve on, or also give them compliments on the things that they're doing well. I feel that in order to keep your staff where you need them to be, when they're doing good, you have to also tell them that they're doing good. You have to allow them to know that your work here is not going unseen. So at the times when they're doing good, we recognize them for their goodness. And the times that they're slipping a little bit, we sit down, we talk, we find out what the situation is, if there's anything we can do to help you become a little better in this particular area. We definitely have an open door policy on our programming. We go through a strict routine on how we like things done. So we don't try to make them do exactly as we would do. We want everybody to be who they are because it makes you more comfortable. If we have visitors in the building, then we don't have to pretend because this is our routine that we do every single day. Just because I'm in a manager situation doesn't mean that me and you are not equal. So I want you to feel that anything you do, your manager is here to do it also with you. After work, sometimes we all get together. We make sure that all the times are acceptable for everyone. And we also have a birthday little pile that we do when birthdays come. We make sure everybody gives and puts into the pot, and we want to acknowledge everyone's birthday because that's a special day. And not only is it a special day, you're here at work with us during your special day. So for you to give us your time on your day that you were born, we like to show our appreciation in giving you something also. During the month, we give an employee of the month, as well as we allow them perks to do special things in the months or the weeks in which they've outworked the other workers. We try to keep it a little competitive to where the other staff might say, okay, when is it going to be my turn? So as long as we keep it competitive, we keep it fun, and we keep people liking what they do along with being safe and allowing the kids to still have fun at the same time. In planning programming for the week, we have a weekly sheet that they're mandatorily have to fill out. We actually do it by the week, but they also have to do one daily. This allows us to figure out what material is going to be needed for the day and for the week. And we feel if we have proper time in getting those materials, that we can also be that more effective in what we need to do in order to make this program a success. Yes, we have a overall outlook sheet that they have to fill out at the end of the course or the program that they're implementing at that particular time. It allows us to know, as the staff as well as the directors and the program directors, to see what outcome did you get by doing this program. What did you do well, as well as what you need to do in order to be better the next time. We get feedback from the kids at the end of the day in order to write this material down. And it helps us go on in our programming to do more and to do better, or to do less if it calls for it, in order to be a success in making sure the kids get everything that they need. The summary worksheet that we mandatorily have them to fill out for us after their program allows us to know what they did well, what weaknesses did they show or did they have during the programming of that particular activity, and what we can do to help them better their activity for the end of that day. Allow us to give an overlook where we can help other staff that may be following the same situations. The survey sheet is more of finding out about the child, finding out what interests does he have, what weaknesses does he have, what strengths does he have, and also what concern or what area do you, as a parent, do you want us to work on with your child. We feel every kid should leave a little more improved than they did the day before. And we try to put the kids in a situation to where we can help them in the areas where they need it the most. I can do the best work at my club because my leaders allow me to be who I am. You can give your club experience a chance to be better by, first of all, making sure that you have a safe environment for the kids. Second, make sure that your kids really enjoy what they're doing and that you have staff that's very engaged in who the kids are. Thirdly, learn all the kids by name to give them a sense of protection and caring from the staff as well as the management of your particular club.
The Samelson Boys and Girls Club is the greatest. It's my home away from home. We have complete creative freedom here. Long as we stay inside the guidelines of the programs and the activities, we can pretty much present it how we like, however we want, and it's great. I can do my best work in my club because my leaders are supportive. They're always there to guide me and help me with anything that I need. My directors are always there. They're always engaging with the kids. They're always in the classroom settings with us, playing basketball, hula hooping. They're engaging in everything that we're doing. So because they're right there, it makes our job that much easier. They always have suggestions to make my job easier. They're always there showing me how it's done. Constructive criticism. They don't mind telling us when we need to pick up the pace in something, and if we're doing a good job, they don't mind giving us that pat on the back. Because safety is the most important thing here at the club. Training is often. They make sure we have everything we need. They make sure we're applying what we're learning in the training. The team here, we're like family. They're gonna encourage me to do this differently or do this better. Being healthy and healthy habits, being creative in arts and crafts, triple play, like those are the things that they can take with them for the rest of their lives. You can improve the club experience for your members by getting to know your members, building relationships with them.
And I have a strong passion for the kids. I take my job serious, you know. I want to be that role model for the kids. We're the greatest. You're smiling from the time you walk in to the time that you're walking out. You can't beat that, you know. I can do my best work at my club because my leaders, I would say, they hold us accountable and kind of push us and help us to do our job. The one-on-ones are the times where you really just learn things like that from our directors. She acknowledged me for that, taking initiative. They allow us to do what we know how to do, you know. I'm also in school, and they tend to work around my schedule when I'm able to come to the club. But they work with my schedule, and that, to me, that's great. That's support. You know, that's the support that I need while I'm trying to graduate. The fact that we come from different backgrounds, I think that's a major factor here. We're able to relate to each other as far as coming with different approaches to situations. Our relationship and the way we relate to each other is like magic to me. You know, we make it our business to be in the members' business, you know, catering to your members and learning what they like to do, and the shy ones, bringing them out the box, you know, really making their business your business. All right. You can improve the club experience by creating a family experience, you know, checking on the members, reading report cards, you know, checking on family members.
Somebody changed. Somebody was there to help me change, so I want to be that person to help them change. The Ira Sampson's Boys and Girls Club is a family. We all come back as one, no matter what. It's enjoyable. I love to see them smile when they get to that part. When we bring up suggestions, they eat it. They just take it in. I can do my best work in my club because my leaders support me 100%. Yeah, their supervision is on point. They come in, help you out, let you learn, and help you as you grow by their examples. Their examples of leaders are perfect. Every 2 weeks, we have some type of training, no matter what it is. But I take so much pride in my board. Even though this is a Boys and Girls Club, I'm still a teacher. I'm somebody's leader, so I gotta take pride in what I do. I would say our teamwork is on point. It's perfect because, like, we got each other back. We push each other. You can improve your club experience by being patient.
An opportunity to change life and to keep living your childhood in the way that you're supposed to live it. The Samelson Boys and Girls Club is an opportunity to change life and live your childhood in the way that you're supposed to be. That is the best job that I ever had. That this is not just a daycare that they can leave their kids, but this is an opportunity for their kids to be somebody, to go to college, you know, to be out of the streets. She showed me exactly how to do it. They are very active, so it's really easy communication with them. First, we have some rules, you know. If we made a mistake, she comes to us. It's just the right procedure, and when you work with kids, you need to follow the procedure. It's very respectful, but at the same time, we are like friends. We are just a good team, you know. We work better as a team, not as one single person. All that is gonna go in a direct connection with the parents, you know, that they will always feel that they are involved in their kids' education. An opportunity to change life and to keep living your childhood in the way that you're supposed to live it. The Samelson Boys and Girls Club is an opportunity to change life and live your childhood in the way that you're supposed to be. That is the best job that I ever had. That this is not just a daycare that they can leave their kids, but this is an opportunity for their kids to be somebody, to go to college, you know, to be out of the streets. She showed me exactly how to do it. They are very active, so it's really easy communication with them. First, we have some rules, you know. If we made a mistake, she comes to us. It's just the right procedure, and when you work with kids, you need to follow the procedure. It's very respectful, but at the same time, we are like friends. We are just a good team, you know. We work better as a team, not as one single person. All that is gonna go in a direct connection with the parents, you know, that they will always feel that they are involved in their kids' education.
What brought me to the club was the created space, the free opportunity to like invest in young minds and build them up. Okay. The Samelson Boys and Girls Club is the best club ever. It is so awesome. It gives the children a chance to be free-minded, to give them a chance to grow in different opportunities and things in their life. The Samelson Boys and Girls Club is like the best club ever invented. I personally think this is like the #1 club of all clubs, if you ask me. The staff is like family. The kids are like family. They treat us like we're one of their parents or guardians or someone that they actually love. So it's like a close connection with everybody, including the kids. I get to do everything that's required of me, and they push me outside of the box. Yes, I do feel like I can give my suggestions at any moment. They give us the opportunity during staff meetings to speak up, or individually when we feel like we have something on our chest. We can just pull them aside or go into their office and just speak our mind, and it stays confidential. There's never a dull moment with them. I can do the best work at the club because my leaders are awesome. They're great. They're fantastic. They help us in any way, shape, or form, whether it's personally or work related. They make us feel comfortable and they make us feel like we're one of them. It's so much passion in their eyes and so much passion when they're working with kids that it just overflows into the staff because they're so supportive of us. They push us, they encourage us every day because they see something in us even though we don't see it in ourselves. Previously where I worked, I never got acknowledged for doing right. So it was like when I got here and she started to acknowledge me for the things that I've done, I didn't know how to take it. So I was like, okay, I'm just doing my job. She was like, no, you do your job excellent. I was like, okay. So if I have trouble with speaking up, they'll pull me to the side. Okay, Shanice, you need to verbally push it out so they can so you can get their attention. So this probably it. I was really proud and excited at the same time to walk in and be able to see my face on the wall, be recognized for what I worked so hard to do. The training that we had on conflict resolution, and it stuck with me because my nephews, I deal with kids like every day of my life. So it becomes natural. It's like a motherly instinct almost. And my nephews were fighting, and normally I would say, no, leave me alone, stop, I don't care. And I was like, no, I can't do that because they're gonna figure out, oh, she don't care. So I had to change my attitude towards the situation to make them change their attitude towards each other so they can be able to benefit off of me as I benefit off of them. They support me every day. I was like, I can't say can't unless I tried. You don't know what you're able to do unless you try. And wherever we're weak, we find someone who's strong in the area. We're not afraid to push our talents out of someone else. But eventually we got over it and we pushed forward and we persevered and we conquered. We've improved the experience for our members by getting to know them. Letting them know that they're special, you're somebody, you're going to be somebody. Knowing your staff, knowing your members, knowing things about them, whether it's personally, just listen, and they'll be able to trust you and be able to come to you whenever they feel like they're in trouble or need some help.
What brought me here is my passion for children. My job is important because I know that the next generation, it really needs us, and it's very important that we instill in them the education and foundation that they need to be successful in life. The Samelson Boys and Girls Club is a big happy family, and also I just love helping others and seeing the potential of other people. Yes, our club is all about suggestions and making the club better. Not only the children, but also the staff have an ultimate club experience. I can do my best work at the club because my leaders push us and motivate us to do the best that we can and be the best that we can. They come in at random to see what we're doing and what we need to improve on, so they'll be able to help us hands-on. They give us verbal motivation and praise us, so we're always being shown that we are appreciated. And the things that they do to help us be a good leader is push us to the limit and see our potential and actually give us the tools that we need to go to the next level. When one's weak, we help the other. It's all about communicating and helping the next person to make the whole club a better place. If there's a problem, then they'll help us solve them. You can improve your club experience by having fun yourself.